All right, in 3, 2, 1.
Go! Get to the podcast!
Are you telling me that you built a time machine? Out of a podcast?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and
podcast.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hey everyone, welcome to Get to the Movies. That's Get to the Movies with the number 2. My name is Tiago de Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
And we're going to war, people. This is not a game. We're going to war. Get your shit and go. Get on the goddamn ship and get your ass on out there.
Because today
Don't trip.
we celebrate our Independence Day.
It's really on
It's
the
more
nose.
of a disaster film.
I will
It's
twist
like that
your
point-
head off and
No, that-
shit down your neck.
Looks
That's
like
the
some
only
sort
time
of,
it's said in the whole
What
It
movie.
looks like some sort of
What line?
hot tub
What line?
time machine.
What line? What line?
What, your
I
line?
will twist your neck. I will twist your head off and shit down your neck.
Ooh.
Sounds like Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal
Boom.
Jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought you were going to pull a Major Payne. I thought you were quoting Major Payne.
That's the wrong quote. You should say
Maggot.
the racist quote in that
do it.
movie. I'm good.
You little turd.
And be fucking with those words
that-
Was it
anymore.
racist the time that
That's
movie
Major
came
Pain.
out?
I should have started with that. Here, let me
yeah.
rewind and do that.
Is it racist if a film
I just
which is
wanna
trying to
welcome-
depict a real...
Hey, I'm trying to do Major
Oh, okay,
Pain. I'm
sorry.
trying to start the podcast.
Oh, Major
Pain.
Payne. I just watched that.
Did you? All right,
Love
here we
that
go.
movie.
Here we go.
It's interesting.
You little maggots. We gonna start the podcast right now. It's called Get to the Podcast with the number 2. You little turds.
It's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah. He reminds me of the guy who was the homeless dude when they had like the giant turd in the bottle or whatever.
The PIA.
Yeah.
That's enough. All right, so today we're going to talk about some war films. Best of the best. Top. The number ones.
Yeah.
The good goods.
Yeah.
Do you feel it?
Hacksaw Ridge.
There's some
It's really
good ones.
Yeah,
There's
there's
some
good
really
ones.
good
So,
ones.
all right, let's
What's the We Were Soldiers?
We Were
The Mel
Soldiers. That's a
Gibson
good one.
one.
Mel
That's
Gibson
really,
one.
really
That was
good.
good.
Did he direct that?
We just talked about Crimson Tide. Oh, I love that
No,
film.
I don't.
I think he did.
I don't know. Speaking of
I'll
the
look it
Patriot, though, that's technically a
Patriot,
war
yeah.
film, and
But he didn't direct that.
No, but he was in it. and It was great. But let's start. Someone throw out a film, and
Let's
let's
go.
discuss it. Let's break it down.
We just threw out films.
Of course,
well,
one of
fucking
the
stop. Just you threw out like 4 and like.
All right.
cursory.
All right, let's start with one
Best
of the
war film.
best
Oh,
known
Platoon.
film.
Platoon.
Wait.
Platoon. That's what I was going
All
to
right,
say.
we can start.
Is that what you were gonna say?
I was
I was
gonna
gonna
say,
go-
Let's start with that.
Start it. 'Cause
Did
of
we
what-
do we ever do a Platoon versus
Full Metal
Apocalypse Now?
No.
Because I feel like I watched Apocalypse Now once and I was like, it was okay.
No, that's
it's
my-
a weird drug trippy movie.
That's
like
kind of
I,
my.
you
am
know,
I
it's
not
so
getting
fucking
it?
interesting
I
how
need to rewatch
quickly you switch topics. Like that was fucking
no.
quick.
I'm talking about Platoon and how much better it is than
You
Apocalypse
said,
Now.
let's talk about Platoon.
True, okay.
Did you ever watch?
So let's actually talk about these two movies for a second. Let's talk about Platoon, and then we'll kind of go into Apocalypse Now, because I don't disagree with your point of view on that at all. I had the same
very
reaction.
different, but-
They're very different, but I feel like Platoon is, if we're going to do a comparison, is better than Apocalypse Now, but Apocalypse Now gets a lot more of the love. And it was a batshit. Some part of it's the story behind how Apocalypse Now was made and the insane on-set.
The irony is that if you watch the documentary, there's like a documentary on the making of Platoon, like where they're interviewing all the actors like years later, and they were like, yeah, it was insane. Like Willem Dafoe talked about flying into because they didn't
Philippines.
film it,
You usually
in
do
the
it in the
Philippines,
Philippines.
and there was an uprising occurring during filming where people were like literally shooting each other in the streets outside of his hotel.
Right.
And he had to like be, they had their own security for the crew and take him out to the jungle to film this fucking movie while the citizens are like shooting at the, government, military or whatever, and they're shooting the citizens. And he was like, it was chaos. But it was one of these things where it was like, it's Hollywood, like back then it was the Wild West. They went into these crazy situations to make a movie.
Yes, it was Oliver Stone, and this is one of his early films. Like probably, I think that's
And he was
right
in Vietnam. So
yeah, so it's
like, very
actually
personal for
Charlie
him.
Sheen's character
very
is
personal.
kind of more, because he was a private in, I guess, the army or whatever. I don't know these things, but he was a private in the army in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So he made two Vietnam War movies, two specific Vietnam War movies. I mean, he obviously JFK has references to Vietnam, but he
Born on
had
the 4th of July.
Born on the 4th of July and Platoon, and they were within back-to-back films.
Right.
Yeah.
And they were done from different perspectives. But Platoon is a crazy fucking movie.
Tom Berenger,
Tom Berenger,
Awesome.
Willem Dafoe,
Johnny Depp,
Charlie
like
Sheen,
one of his first movies.
Johnny Depp's in it. Kevin Dillon.
Was that
you know
line-
Johnny Drama from Entourage is
Yeah,
in
Kevin
it.
Dillon.
He's
Oh,
great. in it.
yeah.
Was the
he's-
line?
I forgot,
I love.
No, that's from Apocalypse Now.
Apocalypse Now, that's right.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Robert Duvall. Ride of the
Yeah,
Valkyrie.
No.
Robert Duvall does that, and he goes surfing like on
Yeah,
the beach
he's
where
like,
things
"We
are
catch
getting-
some waves, guys."
It's insane. No, that movie is crazy. See, Platoon feels a little more focused. And if you watch the documentary behind, it's called Hearts of Darkness, the filmmaker's Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And it came out in '91, and it's the documentary behind behind the scenes of the making of Apocalypse Now. And it's Francis Ford Coppola, who'd already done Godfather 2 by this point, and is like, you know, a god filmmaker, and goes out to this film, and he's losing his goddamn mind, and so is everybody else making this film. And everything that can go
Couldn't
wrong
handle the
goes
heat
wrong.
and the mosquitoes.
It's so insane. There's malaria. Like, everything's going wrong. There's like freaking huge goats or cows getting slaughtered on film. Like, it's
oh,
a really.
I remember that. Yeah, that scene disturbed me where they just like cut that cow.
Yeah. And
Ugh.
Francis Ford Coppola is like one of those guys. He was of that new wave, those 1970s directors, where he was really committed to the art and the vision, but he was also forced to deal with the bureaucracy and the financing and everything else as well. And everything that could go wrong just went wrong trying to make this film.
Yeah.
He really did a good job implementing the essence of the environment of the film.
That is actually one of the things that's done really well in that film.
Yeah.
And Francis Ford Coppola, I mean, Tropic Thunder, which is a comedy, is basically, it's based on
That film.
It's a parody of the making of Apocalypse Now, like where everything goes to shit.
Yeah.
That's what Tropic Thunder is basically doing.
Right.
But okay, so when I first saw that film, I'm like, it feels off. It feels wacky. It feels weird. It begins with this whole weird, trippy scene with Martin Sheen in the hotel room, in his underwear, losing his mind, drinking himself into a hysteria, and he punches a mirror at one point, cuts his hand, he's bleeding. That's
Right.
all real. Like, he really got all fucked up and really punched that mirror. It broke. It cut his hand. He starts bleeding. So everything you see on screen is real, and it starts with that. So it gets you all kind of weird and in a weird vibe right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the movie kind of just plays out like that. It kind of, these weird scenes that don't feel like part of the whole movie, like part of the narrative, or they do, but they just feel all kind of like a little off. Marlon Brando's whole scene got completely changed, like on the spot, because he showed up. He showed up
when he wanted to.
like way overweight, like 100 pounds overweight,
Right.
didn't know any of his lines, and was like, okay, let's talk about our characters and
Just
and
put
pork
him in the
chops.
shadows.
Pork chops.
Just put him in the shadows.
But like,
It
was
couldn't
just-
have been that bad. But
No.
he was
Oh,
great.
he
in
was.
the few
Documentary.
They
scenes that
changed
he's
his
in.
shots because of that.
Yeah.
They literally almost every shot with him, he's in like a shadow.
You barely see him.
You
Like, you
barely
see-
see him.
Oh, I
see
thought
it.
that was all on purpose.
No.
No,
But
no.
that's what happens. The scene actually ended up awesome. Like, all his scenes ended
Right.
up really pretty cool. And so the thing about Marlon
It
Brando,
was almost like a break.
Yeah.
Because the film is so long.
so
Yeah.
the funny thing about Marlon Brando is that a lot of times when he was on set, he wouldn't learn his lines, and they would have to cue cards for him.
Right.
He'd be reading them. If you watch like Superman, where he plays Jor-El in the beginning of Superman, which he does great, and he literally is walking around. He'd take all these long pauses. And it's because he was reading the cue cards. But he would do it. He was still a great actor, like phenomenal actor. It's just he didn't want to learn his lines or something. I don't really understand exactly what his thing about that was. But so he showed up.
I
didn't
feel like
know
now
lines.
though they could probably have like little mic they could stick in an actor's ear and they'll just feed him the lines, and if they're good at acting,
Yeah.
they could just deliver it like naturally.
Yeah, I
You
guess.
know?
I think now they want investment, so you better come in and knowing your lines. Or else
I don't know
we'll
that
have-
anybody would
Some
deal
of
with that
these
kind of
actors
behavior.
will like
Yeah.
remember these crazy long like dialogue thing, and I'm just like, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
With
and
the
then,
amount of
to,
stuff
to
people-
clear your mind and then remember again the next day. A
Well,
new
it's like
scene,
when you see a play.
okay.
Like when I saw a couple years ago, I saw Angels in America, which is a 7-hour play. It's split over 2 nights, so it's 3.5 hours each
Oh,
night.
okay.
It was phenomenal. It's literally like probably the greatest thing I've ever seen on stage. And Andrew Garfield, they cleaned up at the Tonys later that year. Andrew Garfield was amazing in it. But there were like scenes where a guy would be like on the bench delivering a monologue for like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like rapid fire dialogue, just like in like socio-political fucking crazy.
Or it was
Deep
like
shit.
Billy
Like, and I'm like, I
Crystal's-
couldn't even-
Billy
yeah.
Crystal's one-man show.
700
That's
Sundays.
Bananas.
Yeah.
Just watching him sit
you can
there and
remember all
like
that.
tell these stories, and I'm like, is he reading off a screen?
Oh
Like, what
yeah,
the fuck?
John
Like, this
Leguizamo,
is-
Latin History for Morons,
insane.
and yeah, all these
Yeah.
things that
It's
they're able
crazy.
to do.
Yeah.
So, but like the fact is, Marlon Brando just didn't do that shit, and I don't know why exactly. If he didn't have like a
But
punch
he,
for that, or he didn't
started
like it to
doing
get in
that
this-
when he got famous. I think
guess.
I just really
He probably
think
didn't do
just
it
went to
on
his
the
head.
waterfront or Streetcar Named
Yeah.
Desire.
Did
but
he get? He had already gotten his Oscar for Godfather.
Godfather,
and
yeah.
all that. Okay.
Yeah.
I think all that got to his head, and he just kind of
or Sacheen Littlefeather got it actually.
Why,
She
why are
rejected
we,
it on his behalf.
There we go,
right.
dude. You
So
can't
what's
reverse
another
it.
film?
Like,
And John Wayne's out there is like,
What's
"Fuck that
another?
bitch, get her on stage." He said,
What's another film?
That's what he did.
What's
No,
another-
he
he
didn't.
didn't.
It is. Yeah, John Wayne was in the crowd. It was like, "Boo, get her out."
wow, he's a cowboy. She's an Indian. Like, I don't know what to say.
What's another film?
Okay, no, but so Apocalypse Now. Anyways, Apocalypse Now is widely regarded as a great. And honestly, when you watch it from a technical
It's
point
the
of view,
2001 of
it is. It
war
is.
movies.
I agree with that. 2001 probably had more pre-production that didn't go to shit, but it there's like sound mixes in
Apocalypse Now
that's incredible.
Went to shit.
Did you like it?
before? I know it went. I loved it, but it went to shit before it was completed.
Yeah.
This movie
But
had
they-
a lot.
I think that
like
in itself is
ran
like,
out, they ran
you
out
know.
of money. They manipulated governments
Yeah.
to like run helicopters.
Lawrence Fishburne's
it
a
was
child
just,
doing
it,
drugs.
It was
He's
just
14.
It
Or
was
he's
just a lot of crazy
17
shit.
playing 14. No, he's 14 playing 17.
Yeah. Well, they lied.
He lied. He lied.
And it was like,
Yeah.
I'm 25. And
Yeah.
they were like, you are? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then they got in a movie.
Yeah, so
it's
this movie it went to shit before it was completed, but it came out phenomenal.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do prefer Platoon over that. Platoon is just feels like sometimes I'm a little bit like when it comes to these films that are like very interpretive or get kind of weird in their feels and in their trippiness. I kind of check out a little bit. Another movie that does that, not a war film, but I won't get Easy Rider does that.
Right.
It's just 10 minutes of just like drug fueled whatever, and that's why I'm not a huge fan of Natural Born Killers, another Oliver Stone film, because
Yeah.
it gets just so into that, and that's just. I know. I just kind of go. I get it.
It was
But you're
a-
losing the thread, man.
I wouldn't even say, I was going to say it was a time period thing, but people do drugs like crazy today.
Yeah.
But back then it was like, I don't know. I mean, I just assumed that a lot of the people making these films either had personal experiences or the writers had personal experiences like that.
A
and
lot
they
of times
wanted to convey
on the
it.
film they did it. Like
Yeah.
it was while they were making it.
Yeah.
Anyways, but like so I think Platoon has a better narrative. It doesn't lose the
Oh my
thread
God.
so much.
Like Willem Dafoe is incredible in this
Right.
movie. Tom Berenger's incredible. Even Charlie Sheen is fucking great.
yeah.
Tom
Like in
Sheen's
the-
a
the
great
story-
actor. He just recently gone through not recently, but he's
Yeah.
going through a lot.
Yeah, and then he hooked up. He did Wall Street again right afterwards.
He's a
with,
great actor.
Yeah.
Like, I would never say he's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and it
Hot
was
Shots.
Oliver Stone
Just
won
being-
Best Director and it won
What was
Best
that garbage
Picture at the
movie?
Oscars.
Yeah.
What was the garbage film?
Oh, Men at Work
Men
with
at Work,
Emilio
yeah.
Estevez and Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, that was a great film.
Oh, I don't think I ever saw that.
It's fun.
All right, what you got, Nick?
Okay, so all right, well we talked about Apocalypse Now and Platoon, but let's talk about Full Metal Jacket. I love that. I love that movie. Like we've talked about this, Stanley Kubrick. I do love Stanley Kubrick. Even though we do that Stanley
Right.
Kubrick versus Christopher Nolan thing, I do love his
And
films.
Christopher Nolan said that Stanley Kubrick was the greatest director of all time.
Yeah.
like months after we.
Yeah, but he's like the worst viewer of all time of my films is Neil Carson. Fuck that guy. No, so
Shit.
no, but Full Metal Jacket.
That's
I just
I love his
I
movies,
love
except
that.
Dunkirk.
I love that movie.
Because you haven't seen it. Hold on a
seen it.
second.
so good. Vincent D'Onofrio in Full Metal Jacket.
Right.
Amazing. Like that whole first 25, 30 minutes in boot camp, in that
Gomer
training,
Pyle.
which Gomer Pyle. You never see that. Like you
Right.
never see that part of like a military movie, a movie that ends up in war, starting with following these guys from basic training.
Well,
Right.
you do now. I mean, you do after
Well,
that.
there was a
movie.
couple
Yeah.
films that did that, but not like that one.
Not like that one. Like that's very specific because they're trying to get into the psychology of what's so
Right.
fucked up about this war and these people and like what's going on.
Yeah.
And it really starts early. And I love that whole first tracking or continuous shot where the guy's going around and he's just ripping them all a new asshole.
Right.
The drill sergeant. Like that whole scene,
You mad,
incredible.
man.
That's the monologue. Like he just goes in on these people, but a lot of that was improvised because he was an actual drill sergeant, and they were
Yeah.
like, "We're just gonna let you roll,
Arlie
And do what
Emery.
you would do." Yeah, exactly. They're
Yeah.
like, do what you're gonna do, and it's awesome. And
I-
just Vincent D'Onofrio's change in that whole scene from like the naive, goof to like the insane psycho, like this is
Yeah.
how you make mass shooters kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to make them into killers, and they did it, but they just did it
Which
too
is
well.
funny. I mean, we're interpreting it that way today, but back then,
Yeah.
there weren't. I mean, if there were, we didn't hear about it. But I remember when we watched it because me and you watched it, and I had never seen it before,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember thinking like, this is an epic fucking movie. Like Platoon is
It
a
is.
great movie. Apocalypse Now is a good movie, but like you watch Full Metal Jacket, I had no idea that second half of the movie felt those scenes where they show like the city
Different.
that's like completely destroyed, and I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck they filmed this. Like
Yes.
this is some Hollywood magic shit, and it's all
it's
real
huge. Right.
locations.
Yeah.
Like they found
That's the
real
great thing about
dilapidated
this film,
cities
yeah.
and like
Ruins.
start blowing shit up, and
Yeah.
I was like, it just feels grand.
Yeah.
It's a
It's
very
like
grand feeling.
Full
film.
Metal Jacket, the great thing about this movie and why it feels so grand to me is because you're getting like 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
it's literally like
Feels like
2
two films.
full
Two
films,
films, yeah.
in one.
'Cause it's
I
the
mean,
first
you know,
half
the
hour
first
or
time
something with
no,
Gomer Pyle,
not,
or-
It's
not
like
half
20
hour.
it's
It's
a-
like literally almost an hour in the first film.
I think it feels like that, but I think it's like a half hour.
No, it's.
I think it's
I'm pretty sure
25 or 30 minutes.
And it
'cause I
feels
clocked it when
long
we were
too
watching
because it gets so intense so
Yeah.
quickly,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
and then it changes to this completely different thing,
It
and you're
jumps
like, what the
forward
fuck?
in time to like they're already they've
And
been to war. You
Isn't
know,
the
they're in-
transition the Me Love You Long Time? That's
yeah.
like the transition from Gomer Pyle to like being in Vietnam.
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is that famous line is like, me love you long time, where, like, the prostitute, the Vietnamese prostitute.
Yeah.
And then the guys steal their camera and then does like a bunch of karate kicks. And then he does one back to him and then he jumps on his bike and takes off. Like, there's just like weird scenes like that. It's just a very Stanley
Yeah.
Kubrick-esque thing to do. But yeah, I love it. Matthew Modine. It's a really great film. There's like just little things I love about it. Like that scene where it's that tracking shot of all the people on the wall and they're being shot at or whatever, and you got the film crew there, and it's like ba 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 is the word. Like that whole song is playing as there's a tracking shot of them all getting shot and the documentary crew trying to film them and capture everything, and
Yeah.
I just love it. Like
It's so well done that it almost feels like it's real.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like most Hollywood film, like the way it's shot, it makes it feel like a documentary and not like a Hollywood film.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to mention just while we're on it real quick, because we're talking about Stanley Kubrick, he did another war film, 30 years earlier, Paths of Glory. Which,
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I own it. We should watch it. It's a really good film. It's rest in peace to Kirk Douglas, who's in it and had done a couple Kubrick films. But Paths of Glory, it's a black and white film, late 50s, 57 or 59 or something like that. And it's, I guess, French. They're supposed to be French, but everybody speaks with an American accent or whatever.
Right.
But it's like it starts with Kirk Douglas going through the trenches or whatever and trying to prepare his guys for going out into the battlefield or whatever. It just his portrayal on it, and you basically end up having these guys where they're trying to send these people across these lines to go do this mission, and they're like, it's a fucking suicide mission. We're not going to go, whatever. And they don't end up going, and then they get tried for treason, and then they're basically going to be hanged.
Right.
And it's like this whole trial thing. Like the actual war part of it, the actual thing where things happen is probably in the first few minutes, and then the rest of it's sort of like a Few Good Men-ish kind of a thing.
Yeah.
That goes on. But it's really good. Like well acted. It's just from that time period too. Like there were certain films that stood out in the 50s, whereas some people were still trying to do like some of these grand, hey, what's going on, kid, whatever. And then there was the ones that felt rooted in like more reality, 12 Angry Men, and Paths of Glory. So, anyways, that's a good one. I just want to mention that real quick because of Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good film.
I would say
My
Hacksaw
turn.
Ridge.
My turn. My turn.
Oh, we're doing a round robin here.
There
I
you go.
guess.
My turn.
Was that what you were going to say?
Say Hacksaw
Oh,
Ridge.
okay.
All right.
No, I'm not going to say Hacksaw Ridge.
All right.
I'm going to say two that one doesn't get passed by, but the other one does. One is Black Hawk Down.
Okay.
That's
Michael Bay?
That's very.
Is that Michael
it's,
Bay? No,
no,
Ridley
no,
Scott.
No, it's
Ridley
Oh,
Scott.
I think it is Ridley Scott. Yeah.
yeah. But it has some iconic scenes. And
Yeah.
the other one that I think was an incredible film, and it gets forgotten, was Jarhead.
Oh yeah. Jamie Foxx, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake
Yeah, that was
Gyllenhaal
good.
and
That was
Jamie
good.
Foxx.
That was
It's
That
a
was-
different movie.
It's really. What do you mean it's a different movie?
I don't know.
It's totally
pretty
about
good. Jarhead's pretty
deployment.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more
And
like it's a
waiting
modern
for-
take on.
Yeah,
You know,
it's really it's about deployment
Yeah.
and being at a base waiting for shit to go down.
yeah.
It sounds sounds thrilling.
in an enemy territory.
I mean,
So
it's
it's crazy.
you know
it's
they
a
made
crazy
two sequels
film.
to it.
Yeah, they did.
It's
Yeah,
like
I'm not worried about
it's like
the
Home Alone
Yeah, I know.
4 and 5. or
because
whatever.
that film has a good traction.
Like,
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
really
Starship
good.
Troopers
I mean,
2.
they're sitting there
Yeah.
playing fucking cards, listening to bullets whiz by their heads.
right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like a lot
Yeah.
of people, that's like based in reality.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you're sitting there. All right, do you got it too? You know, it's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
it's in that film. In that, it's such a powerful film. And Hurt Locker.
Jesus Walks. Yeah, I was
That's what
gonna
I was
say
gonna
Hurt Locker.
say,
Yeah, I
yeah.
was gonna say
Hurt
Hurt Locker
Locker.
too.
I was
Let's talk about that.
Hurt Locker and Green Zone with
Green Zone was good with Matt Damon and Paul
yeah.
Greengrass, who did the last 3 Bourne movies, directed
Yeah.
it.
I didn't really
Green-
like Green Zone.
Really, I liked
Really?
it a lot. Actually,
I thought it was really good.
It really stood
It's
out
like
as
a
like thriller.
moves so fast. It's like a thriller. Yeah,
And like
it's
the
like
cards,
boom, 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 boom,
like
boom.
they're trying to like locate like the people, like the
Yeah,
Jack of Spades,
like-
and they're calling them by like the card.
I think
Yeah,
it was
and I was
trying-
like, "What's going on?" It's like
Yeah.
a conspiracy type movie.
Yeah, that was
yeah,
it. What,
it's like
Iraq?
bananas.
Was it Iraq?
That was in
or-
Iraq. Yeah.
yeah. That's.
I felt they let's copy what we did with Bourne and put it in this story.
I think in the way they filmed it was similar. They had that like that shaky hand cam kind of stuff, but I don't think it was. It didn't feel like Bourne as a story though at all.
The story was not Bourne, but let's
The way it was
That's
filmed.
let's copy what how we filmed Bourne and put it in. That's what I said.
That is the first movie that I guess they were Marines or whatever. That was
Right.
the first movie I ever remember. Somebody going oorah, like they were just constantly do like oorah, oorah, like they said it so casually, like oorah.
Yeah.
But they do it very casually. And I only knew, Al Pacino doing it in Son of a Woman, but he goes,
A Few Good Men.
"Ooh-ah,
A Few Good
ooh-ah,
Men.
ooh-ah." It was different. This is like oorah, like they were
They
like
did it in
oorah.
A Few Good Men too.
I don't remember them doing it in A Few Good Men, and I've seen that movie a lot. I don't
I've
think
seen that
that's
movie a
true.
lot.
I don't think that's true.
I felt like that was a very
check.
for like a war movie. Like it felt like a very intelligent thriller. Like it
Yeah.
really held your attention. It didn't ask for the audience to like interpret the Martin Sheen's dance like in his
Yes.
underwear, like touching the blood pouring
Yeah.
out of his skin, and you're like,
It wasn't.
all right,
It wasn't
do I have to
psychological.
interpret this? Like, what does this mean?
It wasn't as psychological as that as Apocalypse Now or has Hurt Locker.
No,
it
was
felt
very
more like a
grounded.
thriller.
Yeah, and
like-
it was like and it was intelligent enough where you were on the edge of your seat and you were like trying to follow it. You're like, oh, wait, so they got this guy and that guy. Now they're talking to this
Yeah.
guy and they're trying to get to that guy, and then this guy and the American consulate's trying to fuck him, and he's like the
Yeah.
press secretary, and he's like, no, we love being in Iraq. We're gonna.
Yeah.
I was like, this is crazy.
It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It actually
Yeah.
reminded me that movie in The Kingdom, kind of.
Is that the one with
Kingdom was
Jamie
pretty
Foxx
interesting.
and Jessica Biel?
Yeah, I don't think Jessica Biel's.
No, it wasn't Jessica Biel. It
No,
was
you're thinking of Stealth. You're thinking of Stealth.
No, there wasn't.
She wasn't in.
maybe
The only
Jessica
movie they
Biel
were in
wasn't
together
in
was
it. Yeah,
Stealth,
maybe it was
which was
Stealth.
not
Yeah.
the same at
Who
all.
else was in it then? It was Jamie Foxx,
Jason Bateman, I think, is
Jason
in it.
Bateman.
Bateman.
Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner.
Yeah,
that's who
right.
it is.
Yeah,
not,
and
not Jessica Biel. Yeah.
it's really. I mean, it's pretty intense. Have you seen it?
yeah. I've seen it.
I thought that one was really good, and it
I
kind
thought
of
it felt a little too Bad Boys. But
Oh,
like
no,
with
no,
a
no.
war background.
No, it's the opposite. It's actually more like it feels very real and very
Was it
gritty.
Michael Bay directed it?
No, it's
No,
nothing
no,
like
no,
that.
no.
Whatever you're thinking of is something
It's
else.
almost
but this
like
one is
it's
nothing
filmed like
that.
Crash.
Maybe I'm thinking of Three Kings, which I really like.
Oh yeah, which is
Yeah.
David O. Russell.
Yeah.
who
Oh,
did
okay.
Silver Linings Playbook and all that.
Which is another great war
I
movie.
Heart Huckabees. Yeah.
It is, yeah, very
That's
much.
a good one. There's a lot of good ones, but can we talk about Hurt Locker because you both mentioned
Oh,
Hurt
right,
Locker?
right. Masterpiece.
Hurt Locker was
Yeah.
fucking great. When I saw that, I was like,
amazing.
again, I like when they could do a film from a different angle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like just cover something from a different go, okay, here's something different now.
Right.
And Hurt Locker was something I'd never really seen these guys that were I want to call them IUDs. But they're
Oh, the
IEDs.
bombs.
They're IEDs, right?
Yeah, the guys that
I want to call them IUDs, and that's definitely not right because that's
No.
an internal
That's-
uterine device.
Yeah, is that what it stands for?
Yeah,
Interior uterine.
internal uterine device or whatever.
yeah.
I don't know. Any women out there, you can write in and correct me on
IAD?
that. IED, right? So it's anyways, the guys who
Artillery disposal? I thought it was
man,
IAD.
I'm fucking terrible right now.
Infiltrate. What's the word? Not infiltrate. Is that right?
Infantry.
Infantry.
We're so bad.
Listen, there was a time jump.
We're real experts here.
Time has jumped forward, and we're all very tired. It's
Yeah.
way
We're
earlier
right,
than
yeah.
it should be.
Yeah, this is
We had a freak out with Neil.
Yeah.
I thought he was still in bed.
Infantry artillery disposal.
So it's IAD?
I
don't think that's right.
I just made that up.
I don't know. Can somebody look it up,
Sounds
please?
right.
Well, I'm pretty sure they call it
Anyways,
something.
The point is, Hurt Locker is about the guys who
Is
they're
it
like the
IED?
bomb squad. They're like the bomb squad in Iraq, like during the Iraq War. Like they're the guys who
Right,
go out and
right.
they defuse these bombs or whatever, and they get
I don't know
all
why I thought
padded up.
Monster Squad. He said Bomb Squad. I
Yeah,
was like,
we're
is
the
he
Bomb
making his
Squad.
Yeah, these guys are like
Bomb
hunting.
Squad. Anyways,
Oh,
but Hurt Locker, like that scene when they've got the snipers, right? They're dealing with the sniper, and they're locked on him for a long time, waiting for the sun to go down, and the flies
God,
are landing
yeah.
on their face and on
That
their
was great.
eyes and on their lips and going. That whole scene where they're just doing it for hours and their eyes are starting to like water over and everything
Yeah.
is so intense. But what I love about that film is Jeremy Renner's character and like his psychological.
He's like, I'm good at what I do, and I can
his
save
need to-
lives. and-
yes, his
yeah.
need to do it where it's almost like he's not complete without it, but at the same time, he's not completely crazy. You know,
Right.
he's not like a Gomer Pyle type. Like he's at the end when he goes back to civilian life and he's with his wife and his kid and everything like that, and they're going grocery shopping. And he's so like there's a void in him,
Right.
And then he goes back out at the end. He's coming off the plane again, and he's just so fucking happy.
Right,
Like he
right.
feels like he's complete now. And I don't know if it's like that adrenaline junkie kind of thing, or if it's just like he's focused, like he's
Right.
honed in, and he actually can like collect himself into like a whole person.
Right.
When he's doing that thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought Hurt Locker was great, and it won what's her face the
First female to
First
win
female
a
director
Best
for an Oscar,
Director,
yeah.
Catherine
Best
what?
Picture, Best Director, Best Original
What's her
Screenplay.
name?
Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah.
yeah
She
Catherine Bigelow.
directed Keanu.
Point Break.
Point Break.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has a new film coming out.
And she did Zero Dark
she
30,
recently-
which is
Zero Dark
another
30, which also
not really a war film. It's a killing of Osama bin Laden, so I guess it's connected to
It's-
war in a way.
it's a
It
war
is.
movie,
It's a
but-
war movie.
Would you call it a war film?
Yeah.
I guess it's because
We're
but it's
talking.
not war.
We're basing on
Military. So we're doing
military.
military
War
movies?
Dogs.
That's different.
What about War Dogs?
That's not. It's because the word war. Well, it actually is. They're funding. They're helping get the weapons
Those
for all the
weapons,
wars.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Right.
peripheral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was a fantastic. It was one of the. It's funny, like looking back on that movie, I'm like, I forgot Anthony Mackie was in it, and I actually liked him in that movie.
I have
and
one.
I don't like him in a lot of movies for some reason.
Yeah.
but I
I'm
thought
just-
he was great in that
He
movie.
was. I like him. He was great in that.
You
Yeah.
said you like different. Like you like the different sides of war films. One we haven't talked about, which is I think is one a great war film, which is Inglourious Bastards.
And look, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It is an incredible.
I love Inglourious Bastards.
It is
It's
amazing.
So good. I mean, it's Tarantino, so what can
It's
you expect?
Tarantino.
But
It's so that it's a totally different perspective.
Yeah.
In war, and it's just amazing. Just the first scene, like I'm still like I'm always amazed
that first scene is so
of
good.
the whole monologue on Milk.
Yeah.
It's just like, dude, he made Milk the most important.
Menacing.
in the world.
The whole
Christoph,
Christoph Waltz.
Christopher
Christoph
Waltz.
Waltz,
Well,
yeah.
the
Won an
whole
Oscar
line,
for that.
yeah, it's just
He
amazing.
also got nominated for the
He
following
won.
movie.
Hateful Eight. He won for both of them.
Yeah.
Not for Hateful Eight,
He
it
won
was-
for Hateful Eight.
He's not
I'm
in
sorry, not
Hateful
Hateful Eight.
Eight,
For
Django.
Django Unchained. Yeah.
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 Which he's great in too.
Yeah. I always think he looks like Tim Roth's character a little bit. Like they wear. Is it Tim Roth?
Oh,
they have the
yeah.
similar like dress,
Yeah.
clothes, same
Yeah.
time period.
Yeah.
But yes, for Inglourious Bastards and for Django Unchained. But that scene in Inglourious Bastards is great. But there's so much great stuff in that film.
Right.
Like, just the whole idea of you're following these guys, these Jewish soldiers who are going after like collecting Nazi scalps
Yeah.
and the whole way in which they get caught. You know, certain one of them get caught. Michael Fassbender's character gets caught because he
Gets
does
caught,
the
yeah.
3 with his fingers the wrong way. You know, it's like just like
The
the
detail-
Germans would do it
yeah.
differently than the Americans, and he's like, "I'll take 3, but it should be like this." And it's it's very interesting the whole movie. And then you have the French, a lady in the projection booth trying to burn down the theater, and how you
Right.
get like Hitler gets all shot and riddled with bullets, so it's like an alternate reality,
Right.
similar to what he did with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
his first time messing with actual historical events.
Yeah.
Through a fantasy of like what could have happened. Anyways, I think Inglourious Bastards is a great one. It's funny,
Yeah.
but it's also kind of crazy. It's intense.
edgy.
It's edgy.
It's very edgy.
Yeah, it's fucking.
It was really good.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm gonna drop 3 movies.
I
All
have
right, drop
just
them
to
quick because
confuse.
we're about to end.
Are we really already?
Yeah.
Shit.
So I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. I think I mentioned it before, but Downfall,
Yes.
the
No.
film about Adolf Hitler's like last
Oh,
3 days
in the bunker? Yeah.
It's
The one that's
based
memed on every
it's memed.
single
It's
event
the meme
in
where
the
he's
world.
like,
I gotta see
taking his
that.
glasses off or whatever.
Hey, skunk, hey, hey, hey.
It's really like I mean
German.
I think it's good, but I'm not German, so I can't tell if they're acting good or not. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm sold, but
Right.
I'm like
think
reading
it
the
was great.
subtitles, so it's like you know what I'm saying? Like if
Is that racist?
If somebody
Or
is
does it doesn't
speaking
count 'cause they're
English,
white?
I can tell if they're
Racist
full
to
of
you.
shit
Does
or
it
not.
not count because they're white?
Why is
What?
why is that racist?
Is it racist that you're like, I don't understand if they're good or not because I don't understand the words?
It's something else. I don't know. Some other ist.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. I just wanted to make it uncomfortable for a moment. Go ahead.
It's definitely something. And then Saving Private Ryan. I can't believe we didn't mention.
Well, I was
that.
going to mention it. Yeah.
Yeah, and Glory.
Glory, yeah.
Which
Denzel
is
Washington
like
won his
fucking
first Oscar.
amazing.
Denzel
Yeah, I
Washington.
love Glory.
Matthew Broderick, Morgan
Sa-
Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did want to point out, like, Saving Private Ryan, I feel like that movie, like, changed the entire look and feel of war
Oh, yeah.
movies. Like, from that movie forward, it
That
was like
D-Day
everything
scene?
changed. Like, everything, it was like okay to make realistic.
It's a study piece.
Yeah.
It literally is a study piece.
Yeah, still today, you watch that movie and you're just like how, like, Spielberg is like a fucking master.
Spielberg
like,
is
still
a
today.
goddamn master.
Yeah,
Like,
it's insane.
It's amazing that he could do those popcorn blockbuster films, which are in themselves amazing, actually.
Yeah.
And then he can go do a Schindler's List, which is kind of a war movie in a way. Schindler's List.
Right.
Saving Private Ryan. Munich. Like,
yeah.
he's incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Because Saving Private Ryan, that D-Day scene in the beginning, still to this day, you watch it and you go, God. And I remember the first time I saw that in theaters, I was like, "What the hell is happening?" You'd never seen anything like that on screen,
Right.
Yeah.
where they're on the boats and they drop.
just
the
didn't
thing
hold
and just
back.
couldn't- Nope, he didn't
At all.
He's like, "This
No.
is what happened. This is the truth." But also the whole story and the way they flesh out all the characters. Giovanni Ribisi's, Vin Diesel's in it.
Yeah, we
Tom
can thank
Sizemore, Tom Hanks.
You can thank
Everyone.
Steven Spielberg because that was Vin Diesel's like big
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
Actually, was that little part he had in
Yeah,
that movie.
prior to even Iron Giant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a
I love
great.
the Iron Giant, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah, but Saving Private Ryan is incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I do want to mention The Patriot. It's because there's more. Obviously, you mentioned Glory, which is Civil
Glory,
War,
yeah.
but this is like even Revolutionary War. And that's The Patriot's a freaking great film.
I mean, you could even
Great
say
film.
like Seven Samurai in a weird way.
Yeah, it's more of like they
No, that's more of
hired
a personal
samurais to help
story.
them. It is like a little battle. It is a battle.
There's a battle at the end.
Oh,
yeah.
but The Last Samurai could be.
I think that's
a
the
war.
God, Last Samurai.
But there's a lot of
Samurai.
war films, and the reason why I wanted to talk about this
Nonstop.
topic is because Greyhound is coming out. Tom Hanks is in it, and it looks incredible. And
Yeah.
I'm excited to see him in it. When I watched the trailer, I was like, "Holy crap, this is crazy!"
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
Oh, Braveheart we never mentioned.
Braveheart.
Braveheart. There-
Oh my
there's so
God.
many.
There's so
Yeah.
many. There's so many.
Did you guys ever see the two Clint Eastwood ones? It was like Letters to Iwo Jima and then Flags of Our
Yes.
Fathers. They were like told
Yeah,
from the
from
two
different points of
sides.
view, yeah.
Both of those were great.
Like,
Yeah,
we could
I
go back
enjoyed
to
both
Tora,
of
Tora,
those.
Tora. I mean, there's just
Dude, Doctor Strangelove is kind of like war, in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nuclear war,
Like
but
satire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. We Were Soldiers.
Yeah,
We Were
yeah,
Soldiers.
soldiers. Mel Gibson. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, now just
behind enemy line. I mean, there's
there's so many. I do
A
want to
Thin
mention
Red Line,
A Thin Red Line.
which a lot of people hated, but a lot of people claim it's the greatest movie.
Here's one that
Better than
actually-
Thin line
Apocalypse
between
Now.
love and hate with Martin Lawrence and Angela Bassett. Just kidding.
here's one that didn't get good credit, but I thought it was actually really good. It's called Good Kill with Ethan Hawke. It's
Oh.
about a drone pilot doing missions.
Oh, this sounds
and-
so familiar.
And he's just working out of Vegas, and he's like just killing people in Afghanistan. So, and it's about his mentality in doing this, and it's really interesting film. It really is. So,
Okay, just last one. Miniseries, HBO miniseries, Band of Brothers. Not a movie, but Band of Brothers is like the Game of Thrones of fucking war films. Like there's so many storylines
by
going on.
Tom
So many,
Hanks.
even David Schwimmer's in there and he's great. Like Band of Brothers was a great miniseries.
Right.
And it's just so much going on.
Right.
A Bridge Too Far, that's another one.
Oh, well,
Is
this
so
gonna
many.
end?
I mean, the
I have to
ultimate
end the
war
podcast,
movie,
guys. Are we gonna go to war right now with words?
The ultimate war movie, Lord of the Rings and the Return of the King.
Oh,
I
well,
mean, that's like
yeah,
the number
it's-
one war movie. Like that's as real as it gets.
How about Devil's Advocate, the war between good and evil?
Yeah. You know, Gabriel Byrne, Keanu
Not-
Reeves.
How about
Al Pacino?
Hey,
You're
Wait,
thinking
wait.
of End of Days with
Yeah,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
exactly.
Just merged two movies. Keanu Reeves is in that one though.
No, he's only in Devil's Advocate. Yeah,
Devil's Advocate,
Yeah.
yeah.
Al
how about the
Pacino.
greatest war
Oh,
film of all?
Al Pacino
Angry
played the
Birds.
devil.
Angry Birds.
Angry
That was
Birds.
Charlize
That's true.
Theron's in
Oh
there,
my
right?
God.
Yeah. Okay. Charlize. Charlie.
All right, guys, if you have time, check out one of these films. These are amazing.
We might have to do a
films.
part 2 to this because there's actually
There's
a lot.
there's
of
a
films
lot.
this
too
Yeah,
many.
we didn't think this through.
Mankind likes war. If people haven't noticed,
Yeah.
It's a fun hobby for us.
Obviously, it's in our
Killing.
blood.
Yeah.
So, all
Great.
right, guys.
Oh,
Some of-
1917.
All right.
Some of our blood.
1917.
Before
I
they
bet-
shout out another
Midway,
one.
which
All
I
right,
haven't
guys.
seen
Well,
yet.
thank you for joining us here. I get to the movies.
Dunkirk. God damn it.
I get to the movies with the number 2. My name is Diego D'Souza.
I'm Nick Gambino, Dunkirk, 1917. 2 of the greatest war films of all time, and we didn't even mention them yet. So we are going to do a part 2. Gambino.
And I'm Neil Carson.
Okay.
All right.
Just somebody do the theme song to Apocalypse Now. There's no theme song.
Oh,
but do Ride It Out, Maria.
It's done, people.
Oh, we didn't
Get
mention
off
300.
my
Ah, that is.
Yeah, 300.
Oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.